Hi, my name is Isabella. My name is Ren. And you're watching the Share Podcast.
You play to win, I play to fight. Let's drop the man rise. Welcome everybody to a special edition of the Sheriff Podcast. Guys, do I ever have a treat for you? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've always believed that my 1982 age group is a special year. Michael Camilleri, I believe, is the most skilled. John Nasty Marasti, I believe, is the toughest. Jason Pominville, gotta be the best goal scorer. But ladies and gentlemen, the best gamer and team player in the 1982 age group is my guest tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I would like to introduce to you my guest tonight. He hails from Regent Park, Ontario, at 5'11", 220. He is a heavyweight. He has played over 200 pro games in 2 different leagues, 5 pro hockey seasons to this man's credit. He terrorized the OHL for 2 straight seasons. Belleville Bulls alumni and fan favorite, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my friend David Silverstone. How are you doing tonight, my man?
That was incredible. Thanks a lot, and thanks for having us on this podcast.
Absolutely no problem, buddy. Now, as you can hear, the crowd is absolutely rocking. One reason why David Silverstone is in the building, I appreciate you coming on, my man. So now listen, Silver, I want to get to the beginnings right off the hop.
Yep.
Now, I said it before the recording, you're Mr. Regent Park, my man, okay? Now, a lot of people from Toronto, when they go outside of the city, they'll claim certain areas.
Yeah.
A lot of people claim Regent Park. Mm-hmm. You're a real Regent Park man, okay? Yeah. I want to know, when did the hockey thing start in your area? Like, when did your family start you playing hockey in Regent Park?
It's probably about, I would say 8 or 9. We started at the outdoor rink down in South Region. A lot of good hockey players. And then we found out about a house league in Moss Park. And my parents signed me up. And it all really took off from there.
Right on, right on. So now, here's the big question. Whenever I get to the Regent Park area, and I've had a couple skates there myself, there's the famous Moss Park Arena.
Yeah, legendary.
Was Moss Park Arena, was that the first arena that Silverstone started?
Where we officially played a game with refs. It was Moss Park House League. Yeah.
Right on. So now, I have kind of a funny story about Moss Park. I went there for a skate one time, and I forgot one of my sticks because one of them was kind of broken, the other one was good. I grabbed the wrong one. Yep. So I went back out to my car, and I was almost sold a couple things from the arena to my car. The area is very, very busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. But the cool thing is that the hockey people that come, we all stick together, and everybody knows that it's the hockey group. And it almost seems like any of the riffraff, they kind of stay away from the hockey guys. Do you agree with that?
100%. Believe it or not, we had a wicked falling out. The riffraff, as you say, broke into one of our good buddies' vehicles. And the rinky caught him on camera. We found him. And our boy got to straighten it out and get his stuff back. Yeah.
So now, how long ago was that?
Probably about
a while back.
Yeah, about 12 years ago, maybe 14 years ago. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So now, this is where it's going to get a little bit interesting. I want to talk about your family. Yep. Now, you got a big support system that's here tonight, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear, listen, ladies and gentlemen, like, my ears are ringing with all this support. So now, I want to talk about the fam. Can you talk about your immediate family a little bit growing up? Siblings, mom, dad?
Yeah, incredible support, man. I'm very blessed, very fortunate. It's a little bit hard to get it out.
Yeah. I appreciate it, though.
Yeah. I'm terrible at this, man. Terrible.
Hey, this show is as real as it gets. Like, I know I've had probably about 4 or 5 guests that they weren't mad at me, but they said, "Man, you got me.
And I as much as I love the sport's incredible, man. Like, I'm one of those kids that could say my mom, my dad, my brothers, they were always at our games. A lot of kids I know can't say the same. So I'm very blessed for that.
So would you say that the thing that kept you going when we were kids, 100% first off and foremost was the support from the family.
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to follow up with that, how was it for your friends in school growing up? Because for me, to be honest with you, my friends didn't really support my hockey. They wanted me to play other sports. How was it for you?
No, I mean, even sport-wise, my friends growing up, everybody supported it, man. Like, from you name it, from the kids that didn't play sports, that were out doing, I don't want to say bad things, but not
Other
the right
things.
other things, and they all fully supported the hockey. And believe it or not, I was never really peer pressured into doing any type of drugs or any of that, because they kind of knew my love for the game and being a good person and stuff like that. So I was very fortunate.
That's actually pretty cool, man.
Yep.
So they were almost like looking out for you, protecting you.
Yep.
Because Silver's our hockey buddy. We
Yeah.
got to make sure nothing happens to him,
I was,
right?
yeah, very fortunate, man.
And that's kind of the camaraderie in Regent Park, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. I could tell you stories all night, but the neighborhood, it was a great community for that. We'd go to opposing games, you'd have half the neighborhood show up into other neighborhoods. You'd come to our neighborhood, and most games would be canceled because the other team wouldn't show up.
Right on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Forfeit, that's what you call it.
Forfeit.
yeah.
Forfeit. So we're going to change it up a little bit. This is going to be some more kind of happy memories. I want to talk about the competitive year that started. We kind of mentioned it before the recording. So now, you mentioned that you and your father had never heard of the MTHL, which is now the GTHL.
Yep.
Can you talk about that team and joining that team for the first time?
It was, it just started at Mott's Park House League, and then this family asked us to come out, and they thought we were good enough to at least attempt to make the team. And sure enough, they brought us out to a practice, and after the first practice, the coach was like, let's sign him up. And my dad was sweating because money was very, very, very tight, but you know, him and my mom always made it happen. So yeah, so that's where it started.
And I appreciate
Weston Hawks.
Weston Hawks.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Weston Hawks.
Weston
Now,
Hawks.
do they still have a team?
I don't even know if
currently?
they still exist.
But
I
they
don't
did
know.
for a while.
Yeah,
though.
for a
They had
long
good
time.
run.
Yeah, really good run. Yeah.
Right on. So I appreciate that story because I always like to hear when the really competitive year started, because we all know when that was, because everything changed for us. So now, Silver, like, we all know that you're a tough guy, right? You're a tough guy. You're not afraid of anybody. You'll take anybody on. But what I really want the audience and viewers to know is how good of a hockey player you are, man. Honestly, Silver, like, growing up, like, what kind of attention did you get on those teams through grade school? Like, were you always the top guy? Were you a late bloomer? Because wait till we get to your tier 2 here.
It's funny. I'm not into pumping my own tires, but
Pump them. You're the special guest.
In elementary school and in MTHL, like the first few years, I was one of the more dominant guys. But it was only A, AA, and AAA wasn't even a thought. We didn't even know what that was either. And definitely when we found out, it was a lot of money. So it was a game changer for sure.
Well, one of the things that people are realizing about us Toronto boys is that we don't necessarily need AAA growing up. Guys like Wayne Simmons, yourself, like you guys were able to reach pro without going like that traditional route of all the political, you have to be AAA since you were 1 year old, and you know, all that kind of stuff, right? So I appreciate the path that you took. So now I want to jump all the way to the Ajax Axemen.
Okay.
Now, when I hear that name, Ajax Axemen, I get a little bit excited because, man, it was such a cool time in my life when we were at that stage.
I actually got a wicked story. My first Ajax Axemen exhibition
I can't wait
game.
to hear this wicked story.
Yeah.
In fact, the crowd wants to hear this wicked story.
No,
as well.
it's we went to camp in Ajax, and me and my dad had our own game plan. He's like, you got to try and attack everybody and anything that moves, because we had been cut from 3 or 4 teams, and it was just getting insane. We were getting cut from every tier 2 team. We tried it for every one of them, and so we come up. So the coach is like, all right, we're gonna give him a shot. First exhibition game, 0 fights, and this isn't a fight story, but this is a wake up of where the game changes, and the respect of warm up. I didn't know the rules and stuff, so I come out hot, about 100 hot laps the first 2 minutes. And the puck goes over the red line, and I don't even care. His name was Scotty English, fat little bugger. And I reached over the red line for the puck, and he two-handed me right across the
No
chest.
way. Okay.
And honest to God, I didn't fight back. I was shocked. I didn't know what had just happened. And the best is when we get off for warm-up, the coach is like, you just got a 10-minute misconduct. And I was like,
For what?
Yeah, for what? But
Yeah.
because you went over the red line.
Okay.
And believe it or not, it actually taught me a lesson. Not until I got to the O and ran into guys like you, then I adored the red line.
Okay, right on. But Silver, I'm not gonna let you off that easy, bud. So now that year in Ajax, tell me about the dynamics. Tell me where you're going to school, who your buddies were at the time, because man, you almost had a point per game. Okay.
Yeah.
You had like 32 points in 39 games or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But what impressed me
19
the most,
goals.
19 goals. Okay, so
No big deal.
I told yeah, babe, yeah, that's it. Let's hear it up. So man, I played in that league, man. I had 1 goal.
Yeah.
You had 19.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. What was your secret that year, man?
You know what? Believe it was the slap shot, man. Flying
Okay.
down the wing. Everybody said I always had the blinders on, and I just let it rip. I was like Ovechkin. I think he said he tries to get 5 to 6 shots a game.
Okay.
And I did that, and it kind of panned out for me.
So I appreciate that. So now we're kind of getting into the Belleville time. I noticed that they gave you a little bit of a shot that year,
Yep.
right? And you went to Ajax and you absolutely lit it up.
Yep.
Let's talk about training camp after the Ajax Axeman, buddy.
So it's when you said the Bulls get. So I do well in Ajax. Then I get my tryout in Belleville. They say we're looking for a goal scorer. Blah blah blah. So I fire in. They were calling me the frozen rope. The clapper was on fire. I was
Okay.
just burying it. And then training camp, there was no fights that year. I didn't fight that year at all. I just focused on goals, and in practice, the guys were a little bit choked at me because I was always winning every race and stuff like that. Because you guys are drafted. I'm a nobody. Nobody knows
Yep.
who I am.
Yep.
So, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough. They went with a hometown kid, and I got sent back to Ajax. And then it was my second year where
Yep.
I was like, I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm making this team. What do you guys want? And Lou Crawford promised me when I got cut that he would bring me back. Of course, he was working for the Roadrunners. He got called up to the Roadrunners. So I asked Jim Holton, what do I do? What are you guys looking for? And he's like, why don't you try mixing it up? And I think in 48 hours, I fought 14 times. I fought Andre DeVoe 3 or 4 times in training camp.
So I'm just going to repeat this again. In 48 hours, you believe you fought 14 times. Now, this is because of inter-squad, multiple games in training camp, the way that the OHL sets it up.
Yep.
But this is the thing. If somebody's willing to go that far and take everybody on every inter-squad game,
Yeah.
they're a tough customer.
Yeah,
Because I've done it. No, you know what? I've tried to do it. I've never been able to do it in every inter-squad game. But I believe that you did
Yeah.
because I played against you
Yeah.
that season that we're
Yep.
talking about.
Yep.
And I'll tell you one thing, Silver. The only other player that I can compare it to is Sean Avery.
Okay.
My first year in the OHL, Sean Avery was screaming at me in warm-up, effing 20, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, I don't even know this guy.
Yeah.
Where's this passion coming
Yeah.
from? When I played against you, it was that 2.0.
Yeah.
You did not give me a choice in the matter. McMorrow, we are going now. I said, well, okay, I guess I have no choice,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It was pretty quick, but Silver, honestly, I think you got the better of me, man. There was so much momentum that you had in that fight, and I just remember sitting in the box and not even remembering really what happened. You were chirping me, and I said something like, be quiet, man. You're like, I just pumped you, and blah, blah, blah. And it was amazing, man. Do you remember that?
Of course I remember it. I don't know if I pumped you, but it was an honor to say that I fought you and put you on my list. That's the coolest part of it.
I really appreciate that, buddy. Thank you
For
very
sure,
much.
for
I'm
sure.
gonna actually give you a
Yeah,
good handshake
yeah.
for that. Okay, so now this is what I think I was most impressed with out of everything that I read. Your first year to your second year, production.
Yeah.
You tripled your goal total, and you doubled your point total, I believe.
Yeah.
What did you do that summer, bud? It was a good summer.
Yeah, it was a good summer. We trained. We were at pro skates. I was doing a lot of the right things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not all of them, but a lot of them. And my son just ran through his cross country today, and it's the same thing in my nephew. And if you just put that effort in, you can get the results. You know, if you really put your mind to it and stick to it, good things can happen.
So your son you mentioned, and his name?
Lincoln.
So Lincoln did his cross country today?
Yeah, in the regionals. So if he would have moved on, he would have battled for the cities.
Okay.
But I was still happy with him and Asa, my nephew Asa, for how hard they worked and competed.
Your nephew's name is?
Asa.
Right on.
The Hambasha. Hey?
Amazing. Yeah, I'm clapping for you guys. So now, like, as parents, right, we get a lot of motivation from our kids. I noticed that you did a marathon recently.
Yes, I did.
Now, what motivated you to do that marathon?
These guys, you know.
These guys right here?
Yeah, my Veda and Lincoln and just everything, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
They're my little inspiration, so.
Right on.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing.
No, half marathon. It's a half marathon.
Okay, hey, any type of marathon. I've never done one, buddy.
Yeah.
So, what was the preparation like for that, man? Like, were you running every day? Like, what?
Honestly, man, I can't. It's your mind. If you can motivate yourself, you can. You know, I didn't know how strong my mind was until I went and did that. Leading up to it, I probably ran 15 kilometers in the last 3 months, and then my daughter said, "Dad, just go for it. Let's sign up and do it." And 21 kilometers, I did it. I didn't stop.
Right on. So your daughter now. So and your daughter's name?
Veda.
Veda. Okay, right on. So you have a lot of motivation, son, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I had to throw that in there because I knew that you did the marathon.
Yeah, thank you.
And the audience needs to know, man. They want to know what's going on with Silver.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool to be a part of, man, for sure.
Definitely. Okay, so now we're gonna switch it up a little bit.
Yep.
We're gonna go to your first year pro. Now, your first year pro, you had the opportunity to play with a really good buddy of ours, Dan Sullivan.
Yes. No, complete weapon.
Yes. So what I'm trying to accomplish here is I want to talk about what it's like when we make that jump to pro to be able to experience it with one of our hometown buddies. Like, that's got to be a different experience. What was it like for you and Sully? Were you guys roommates?
You know what? You know what's crazy is it really helped me, I think, to have him. I didn't know anybody going into Roanoke, and he was the first guy. He come knock on my door and, "Hey, I'm Dan Sully," and I knew Sully from the O, but we weren't buddies or anything like that. And he kind of was like a little bit of an older brother, the way he treated me and said, "Hey, look out for these things," and just some little pointers and stuff like that. So shout out Sully.
Yeah, big shout out to Sully. Now, let's do that. So now, okay, so I wanted to get more. Okay, so you and Sully, at that point, you guys weren't great buddies. You became great buddies from that year.
Yeah, because in the O, if we can run it back quick. He was. I think he might have told this story in his podcast, but I was shooting pucks down at their team and chirping them, and then their coach come and got him, and out comes this big, ogre-looking dude yelling and screaming, and so I walked over my stick, and you're not even playing. Who are you? And then I'm not gonna blow him up anymore. We'll leave it alone. He hears it all the time from me, but yeah. And then to get to play pro with him, it was unbelievable. I scored my first pro goal with him on the ice.
Yeah.
And I looked him off hard when I scored, and you know the story, the Batman and Robin dance and all that stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Well, hold on, Batman and Robin dance. Let's hear a little bit about that.
It's an amazing story. Everybody in the city's heard it, but I'll tell it again because I really don't mind it. I was choked. It was morning skate, our home opener, and the coach was like, "You and Sully go work on a goal celebration," and Sully was pumped. Because he's Sully, and I was choked. I'm like, for sure we're getting cut, and let's stop wasting our time here because it's over. And so Sully, with his imagination, just comes up with this dance, Batman and Robin, we score. We're going to ride down. I'm going to ride my stick. You're going to flap your wings. We'll roll down the window, wave at the other team, and that's going to be it.
Wow.
Sure enough, we might have had like 2 or 3 shifts. Second period, I jump on. All of a sudden, me and Sully going down a 2-on-1. I bury it. Daniel Berthiaume, by the way.
Okay.
Played for the Kings.
Yes.
Yeah, I scored all 3 of my pro goals on him. Daniel Berthiaume. And
So you own him.
yes.
In a way.
So then we score, and Sully's like, we're doing it. I'm like, no way, dude. No way, man. And he takes off. I fly behind him. He rolls down his window, riding his stick, and he gives the other team the finger. So now we go off, and the coach kicks the door shut. He's like, you guys stay out there.
I think I know this part, but I can't wait till you say
And
it.
I'll never, I can't remember the guy that I lined up beside, but I was
Wasn't it
gassed.
Trevor Gillies?
No, that was in.
Okay, all
yeah.
right, sorry.
Anyways, the guy stood beside me. He was. They put on Greensboro put on every meathead. They had 5 guys, and I'm like, Sully, we're dead here. So the guy lines up, and I'm gassed. Like, I'm gassed. And he's like, we're going. I just put my stick in his face, and I was like, you drop your gloves, I'm gonna spear you in the face. I don't care.
Yeah.
But the captain went over to Sully, and I heard it clear as day. He said, I'm gonna break your nose.
Jeez.
And Sully's no slouch. They
no.
go, and it was a great fight. But I think I think his name was Whitworth, and the first punch he threw, he had broken Sully's nose.
Wow.
Yeah. But Sully hung in there and kept tossing him. He didn't just bail over, and then I give him a little face wash afterwards to check on him, and he was happy. He was good.
Man, these stories like this, I believe are the best stories because these are the things that we tell around the campfire.
Yeah.
What we talk about in the dressing room. Like, it's priceless. So I appreciate you sharing it.
Absolutely.
So now, I want to talk about the next step in pro. What it was like for you to switch cities, Silver.
Yeah.
Because you had the 2 years in Roanoke,
Yep.
right?
I'm
So
moved.
you got established a little bit, just like how it was in Belleville.
Yep.
But then you switched. What was that like? What was the recruiting process like?
It was, so I would have jumped over from Roanoke to San Angelo, and it was Ray Edwards was the head coach there. And obviously there was no big money being thrown around or anything. So I said, I want an American League tryout. If you can get me an American League tryout, I'll sign with you guys. And sure enough, he sent me to Milwaukee's camp the year the NHL strike.
The lockout.
The
season.
lockout. So
Okay.
I got to go to camp with Vernon Fiddler, Scotty Upshaw, Jordan Tutu.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Klein. You
Right
know, Dan Hamuse, I think, was there as well.
Klein was a St. Mike's boy, right?
I believe
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Right on, man.
And I think Sutter,
Yeah.
one of the Sutters, and
Yeah.
they had just signed for Cap. And I remember them high-fiving that they just signed for $1 million. And we're here counting our per diem.
Man, it was a battle, but what I believe is at that time we were almost in the prime of our lives,
Yeah.
right? We're battling it out. We love the rush of the role that we had.
Yeah.
The guys that love doing what we're doing, I don't think we minded that we weren't like we were more doing it for the love of the
Love,
game.
yeah.
Like what was that how?
Yeah,
you kind of looked at it?
absolutely. It's for the love of the game, and then as I got a little bit older and I heard guys that were actually in the NHL, and I'm not gonna say his name, but one of them said to me, they're like, Silver, you go harder in men's league than I do in the show, and it kind of really upset me to hear, when
Yeah.
a guy like you or myself would go through a brick wall just to
Oh, yeah.
just to get a taste.
Oh yeah.
And to hear that, it was like, it's about entertainment now. It's not about the love of the game.
So I appreciate that. The reason why I'm smiling is I really want to hear the Trevor Gillies story again, buddy.
So
do you remember?
Of course, well, Trevor Gillies is not only a legit heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's got good clout, and so it's an honor to tell this story.
Oh yeah.
But I just it was my first exhibition game. We were playing Richmond. I fought Brian Gowdy.
Wow. Okay.
And again, I'm not pumping my tires, but we had our first fight was garbage, and I was jacked, so I'm like, we're going again. And the guy's like, he's gonna destroy you. You know what I mean? This guy's no slouch. And I put it on him really, really, really good. Broken nose, cuts, this, that, you name it, he got it. So the next night, we're back in Roanoke, we're stretching, and I see here comes this ogre, Trevor Gillies. I didn't even know his name, but just had meat written across his forehead.
Oh yeah.
And
The Gill train.
so we're stretching and doing our thing, and he's warming up, punching the glass. And
No
I'm like,
way.
Sully, who is this? And Sully, he's like a super fan. He knows everybody.
Yeah, he knows exactly who he was.
And he's like, that's Trevor Gillies, and believe it or not, he's here for you. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, that episode yesterday, it's a guaranteed. That's why this guy's here. So, Sully's psyched me right out. So right away, warm up starts, and I'm all over him. Like I'm showing him that I'm thinking about him, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't want to show any weakness to him. And he's like, don't worry, kid, you'll get your shot. This, that, and the other thing. So Sully comes up. He's like, you got to calm down. I'm like, we're going him this shift. First period, we're going him. Me or you, whoever he picks, we're going him twice. Once each. So Sully's choked now. And but I'm yelling and screaming at Gillies. I'm like, pick one of us or we're both going to give it to you.
So is this to start the game?
Yeah, to start the game.
So you guys are all in the starting lineup?
Starting lineup, yeah. Because I think the coach obviously liked the fighting and stuff like that. So, and
Tough guy coach.
yeah. And sure enough, he picked Sully. Wicked fight, you know what I mean? Toe to toe, and then I was giving it to him the whole time he was in the box, you know, saying I'm next, and he wouldn't fight me, so I ran like a call-up guy, like helpless, you know. I just straight ran him flying elbow, and then he's like, all right, kid, let's go. And he wanted to fight me in front of in their end, and I went out to center ice, called him, waited for him. I'm like, this is the big show. Let's get out here and do it. And he did, and it was a good fight, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
This is Trevor Gillies, man.
Yeah.
I gotta hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking about the fighting. Now, we mentioned the lockout year.
Yep.
The season after the lockout year, things changed a lot for us,
Yeah.
man. Like the decline of our role started happening.
Yeah.
You got a few seasons in after that. Did you notice that? Did it affect you a lot, or because you could play a regular shift, did you kind of just move along with it?
No, I battled with it for sure.
Yeah.
Because what was cool is being in the East Coast, my first year, we didn't have to wear visors.
That's right.
So there was a lot more respect, and that's the biggest thing I noticed when they changed everything, was the respect started to decline. Like, you had to really earn and be feared, you know, to keep the game the way you want it.
I hear you, man,
Yeah.
through and through.
Yeah.
I hear you through and through.
I was fortunate I could play, but the coaches didn't give me the ice time, the proper time to, like a power play guy. No matter what I did, it didn't matter. They didn't.
I hear you. Another thing I wanted to talk about, Silver, was during this time, and I'm asking for my own curiosity too. You played for the Irish team, right? The
Multicultural, yeah.
Yeah, in the multicultural
Yep.
tournament. Do you mind talking about that a little bit? Because I don't think they do. Do they still do that?
If they do, I have no clue, to be honest with you.
So now, this was a team of guys of Irish descent, like Irish, Canadian descent, okay? Mostly, right?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess, if everyone's being straight up, I think. But there was
Right
a
on.
few guys that were suspect.
And then where was the tournament? Like, where, I heard so
Chesswood
much about
Arena,
this. So was that Chesswood?
North York Centennial.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big tournament, man. Like, it was a wicked tournament. I can't remember the gentleman's name that ran it, but it was a really good tournament.
Did you guys ever win it?
We Lando will love this. You know, Lando will
Oh, yeah.
we'll give him a pump in here.
Yeah.
He was the ringleader. Like, him and Mr. Divine, God rest his soul.
Mike Devine.
Mike Devine, yeah.
Rest in
yeah,
peace, Mike
yeah,
Devine, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Great family,
Very
great
special,
human being,
very
yeah.
special man, special family.
And yeah, so he's the one that brought me out. Was Lando that brought me out to it. And I think our first year we won it, and then our third or fourth year we might have won. I might have got to win it with my brother Benny once. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just a little wee gaffer then.
Benny.
Yeah. He had some decent hands on him though.
Awesome. So see, I'm picking and choosing what I'm talking about now, Silver, because you're jam-packed with content, buddy.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to think of what I'm going to talk about just going out the show here. So now, please, go ahead.
Just a quick OHL story.
Yeah, please.
When I wasn't fighting, it's Jason Spezza and my brother-in-law now, Adam Paymont. We go into Sarnia. I'm playing on the fourth line. I think it's our first game of the road trip. Spez and Paymer come out and they're like, Silver, you're playing with us tonight. No fighting. I don't want to hear. I don't want you to get one penalty. And right out of the movie, The Sandlot, Jay comes up to me. We're on the power play. He's like, go stand in front of the net. And sure enough, he takes a clapper, hits me in the shoulder, boom, in.
No way.
Yeah, right out of the movies, bro. Right out of the movies. So fast forward the rest of that night. I think Spez ended the night with 8 points. My brother-in-law had 6. I had 4. 4 points. We were first, second, and third star in Sarnia. I get called out for the third star. I do like a Brad Marsh back in the day, 2 hot laps.
Okay.
And they didn't even go out for second and first, you know?
Right on. So now this is Jason Spezza.
Yep.
And Wilf Paymont's son.
Yes.
Adam Paymont.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, Wilf Paymon is the famous Toronto Maple Leaf.
Yeah, he was the first guy to wear 99. I don't know if you knew that.
I heard that, but
Yeah.
thank you for reminding
Yeah.
me. Awesome. So Silver, like I think it's so cool that I'm able to have guests from Toronto. You're one of my buddies, man. I love seeing you every time. I wanted to point out that when I first started doing these shows at the studio,
Yep.
that you were there, bro.
Of course.
You were there. I don't even know how many, men. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But you were here and you supported me when I first started, and I wanted to point that out, bro, because it meant so much to
Yeah,
me.
absolutely.
And then the whole time, I'm just like, man, I can't wait to get this guy on the show.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I have him in my VIP table.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give you, just some appreciation, man, because I love the support, and it's incredible. So now, I want to ask you one last thing. Amarillo.
Okay.
Amarillo, almost 300 PIMs, 20 points
Yeah.
in 50 games.
Yeah.
I have to ask you about that season before we go.
Believe it or not, it was Amarillo's. I'm not gonna say anything bad. It was the fans were incredible. The city was suspect.
Bad coach?
Horrible.
Okay.
Horrible.
That could.
Jim Wiley.
Okay. Right on.
I don't
Jim
like
Wiley.
him. Yeah, I don't like him. He was he believe it or not, he just wasn't my guy. Like he's well respected. A lot of guys liked him.
But you still produced.
Yeah, I produced. Even in preseason, when I was there to make the Gorillas, I scored 2 goals. In the first game, I fought, and then I give the Fred Flintstone to the fans, and he was choked. He was really upset, and I just said, this is how I make my living. I get the fans to support me.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
Fan favorite, every team you've gone to.
Yeah.
You figured this out in Belleville.
Yeah.
That giving a little bit of extra time,
Yep.
saying a couple words, makes such a big difference, Silver. And I know you would do so much more than that.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that part of the game and what that meant to you? Seeing fans be so admired at you and all that, like.
Yeah, it's I was a big super fan when I was a kid to the NHL guys, and when I had the opportunity to do all that, it just made my day, man. And one of the biggest guys that helped me, appreciate that was this meatball right here. He was my biggest fan.
Carl Silverstone.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes.
He dyed his hair blonde.
No.
He dyed his hair red.
Now, has your brother got into modeling yet? Because I know it was always.
We just
a
gave him the
prospect,
shout out.
right?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna swell his head
Right on.
anymore. No, that's it now. I love you, Carl. He tells me I never put him on.
David Silverstone, best team player I've ever heard of. You are the guy that people want to see after the games. You're the guy that people appreciate. You're the heart and soul of your teams. I appreciate you coming on my show, big guy. Thank you so much.
Thank
And I
you.
want to thank the listeners for tuning in to another episode of The Sheriff. We'll see you next time, guys.
Let's
Woo!
go.